I cut my workday from 12 hours down to 2 hours, and my performance reviews stayed exactly the same, simply by mastering the art of optics. For example, I would write emails at lunch and then schedule them to be sent early in the morning and late at night so people thought I was working around the clock. See, we forget that emails don't require an immediate answer. Usually there's an unspoken law that you have 24 hours to respond to an email, but scheduling emails is just the tip of the iceberg. Let me walk you through the complete O.P.T.I.C.S system that freed up 10 hours or more of my day and eventually allowed me to work for 3 Fortune 500 companies at the same time. We'll work backwards from S. This one's simple yet powerful. The more busy you appear, the less work you will get. No needs to become a part of your regularly used vernacular. Or even better, sorry, I'm heads down on this project, but this person can help you. This is a great way of still doing nothing, but coming off as helpful because you're redirecting them to someone that can complete the task. And even more importantly, the more you say no, the more people will respect your time. See, I still have a hard time wrapping my head around this, but when I started working, I would say yes to absolutely everything, trying to make the best impression and get promoted as fast as possible. But this had an inverse effect. This just meant that if anyone had any grunt work they didn't want to do, they would send it to me. But once I started saying no, people would be more selective about the tasks they asked me to do because they knew that I was busy, or at least I appeared to be busy, and they didn't want to waste my time. Now, to be clear, this is not saying no to all work. It's mostly about getting crystal clear as to what you're hired to do and then doing nothing more above that level. And once you're clear on that, if you're not, ask your boss. Set times within your calendar for you to do head down work only on those tasks. You're not writing emails, you're not sending Slack messages, you're solely focused on that task. And give yourself less time than you actually need to do the thing, and suddenly you'll complete it faster. And when you're about to start work, set a timer. It can be physical or on your computer, and this will help push you to be more efficient within the time frame that you've prescribed to yourself. Then block and tackle the rest of the time in your calendar. If your calendar is completely wide open, you are inviting people to schedule pointless meetings in them. And the best way to train people not to send these meetings to you is to raise the friction high enough so that they'll have to ping you to see if a time works. Whether you like it or not, you are training people how to treat your time. And if you don't value your time, how could you expect anyone else to? You knew this was coming. When I started working at Merrill Lynch, I wanted to be the star player, not in the top group, the best. I was the first one in and the last one out. I got promoted quickly, and what did that get me? A lot more work for a little more pay. The difference in workloads between the top performers and the average people is not 2 times more. It's usually an order of magnitude, but they never get paid 10 times more. So once I figured this out, instead of aiming to be the North Star, I went the other way. As Charlie Munger would say, invert, always invert. So I asked the question, how do I get fired? I made a list and then tried to find the line that I could draw that would put me right above getting fired. I would do the bare minimum, exactly what I was hired for. Kind of a hard line to find. You'll push over it sometimes, but the line exists. And honestly, you would be surprised how low the bar is. Now, I wasn't interested anymore in impressing my coworkers with my performance productivity. My coworkers weren't my friends. Actually, they're usually broken, middle-aged people who have given up on their dreams decades ago. Work doesn't need to fill all of my buckets. I understand what its utility is, and that is to make money. I don't need work to fill my community, spirituality, or any other buckets. The best I can be is predictable. I show up, do the thing, and then disappear. I'm likable, personable, and most importantly, easy to work with. But crucially, I'm not memorable because I will never let you get close enough to truly know me. So we have our calendar sorted out with our heads down work. But when you deliver the work, what happens? You get more work. So we need to start being more intentional with how we are delivering work. For starters, we need to get into a new practice of whenever we get an assignment, always ask for a deadline. So let's say my guy Tim comes to me with a report that he needs done ASAP. I will ask him to define what ASAP is. mainly because I've had bosses where ASAP meant drop everything and do it within the next hour. Then I've also had bosses where ASAP means to do it by the end of the week. No matter how small the task, ask when they actually need it done by. Usually there's a lot more leeway than it seems. So instead of just blindly accepting work, use one of my favorite catchphrases. I've got a few priorities on my plate this week. When do you need this by? And this is all assuming that this is a task that we should actually be doing. Once we're given a task, we should assess if it's actually within our core competencies or if it should be delegated to someone else. So then we do the work, and once it's done, you're gonna deliver it exactly when they asked for it. Now, if they give you a day, I usually like to deliver it in the morning, a couple hours after people come into the office, so they have enough time to chew on it by the end of the day. And when you're actually going about doing the work, a practice that will save you heaps of time is batching. I'll give you an example. Instead of answering emails sporadically throughout the day, pick 2 times, morning and evening, to answer your emails, and then don't check it at all between those times. Set a timer, run through them all, don't let them stack up or chip away at them sporadically. There are huge speed advantages that come from solely focusing on one task. You get into the rhythm and you crunch through it way faster than if you were to do it sporadically. Ideally, you do this with all of your tasks. If you have spreadsheet work, batch all of it together. Coding work, batch all of it together. Administrative, batch it. I even got to the point where I would wait when people gave me certain tasks until I got a similar task from someone else so I could batch them together. It seems really trivial, but very few people are actually thinking this tactically about how they approach their time working. And one of the most important things you can do that will set you way ahead of the pack is paying attention to priorities. Much of what you do generally, if you're not paying attention, is of low or no value. Ideally, you identify what you're actually hired to do and do nothing more or delegate the rest. And again, if you don't know what's important, ask your boss. They'll be happy to spell it out. It shows that you're proactive. Remember, we're not interested in performance productivity. We're not doing things just to be seen that we're doing things because we're afraid of being fired. We're doing just enough. We don't need to do anything else. The optional training messages, the quick favors, the team building committee, no. I'm heads down on other things. Which leads us to the final letter, opportunities. If implemented properly, O.P.T.I.C.S will save you a ton of time, which is great only if you use that newfound time efficiently. Not efficiently, intentionally. One of my best practices that I do 1 or 2 times a year is to audit my time. I will take a piece of paper and throughout the day I will write everything that I do. And when reviewed, you can see where the sinkholes are. What is a complete waste of time that you can cut out of your day? Now, most people will watch this video and do nothing. They'll keep grinding 60 hours a week for mediocre results and complain that they're not making any progress in any part of their life. But particularly if you've never optimized your workday or paid attention and scrutinized your time, the newbie gains are yours for the taking. There are easy hours that you can claw back and put into something more fruitful. Why not work 2 hours and get paid like you work 8? Most of the time you're measured on your outcomes, not the number of actual hours that you work. Start with just 1 letter of the O.P.T.I.C.S strategy, try it on, and see how it feels. And see what happens when you stop trying so hard. Thanks for watching.